My name is Orawo. I am a pro-choicer, and I think I've been a pro-choicer my whole life just because I genuinely believe in having autonomy, like having the choice to do things. And also having worked in a post-abortion care program, I am very passionate about women having choice to choose whether to have children or not. And now, as an emotional intelligence coach as well, I see how important it is to have the emotional capacity to raise kids. So when people don't just have it, it's okay for them to plan for it later.
Hi, my name is Lucy Osenyi. I'm a pro-life leaning towards pro-choice, majorly because I'm a feminist and I believe in autonomy.
This is the episode on pro-choice versus pro-life. I will present particular prompts, and then the agreeers will go before the disagreeers and present their point of view on why they agree with the prompt. And then we'll go on with a discussion before resetting for our next prompt. And our first prompt is: life begins at conception. If you agree, flip your tag. There's just two of us here today. So, yes, why do you agree with the prompt?
That's crazy. I don't know. Life just begins at conception because the sperm and the egg have met, and that's it. Yeah, there is life there. And that's where a baby, or I know the scientific names, I can't remember, but is it the embryo or whatever? I think that's where they start forming. And yeah.
I disagree. Only because I think we've had it so much with pro-choicers who keep on telling us it's just a bunch of cells. And I guess for me, just learning from my science as well, I'm guessing if you can't take it out and for it to survive on its own outside, for me, that doesn't count as life. So
that's an interesting take because I feel like it comes from, I don't know, the human ego of looking at life. Most of the time we think because we live here, we're the most important thing in the universe. But you see, sometimes it's not. I tend to think maybe it ain't that we are the most important thing. Yeah. And we need to extend some level of grace to other living creatures. And the fact that, yes, they're a bunch of cells. Cells are living things. Yeah.
Okay. Then where does, I'm curious to know then where do you stand with abortion on that matter if life does begin at conception? Does that mean abortion then is murder?
Wow. I feel like, first of all, I think saying abortion is murder is on the extreme end of things.
Yeah.
And honestly, for me, I feel like, of course, pro-lifers keep saying this. There are other ways, there are other means of preventing us getting there. And I know we're going to come to a conversation where, what about when someone gets assaulted and all that? I think at that point, I'm so much willing to extend grace because come on, I have feelings too, and I don't want someone to grow up with someone they don't want. And every time they look at that child, they're reminded of a traumatic experience they went through. So I wouldn't necessarily say abortion is murder. I think normalizing it would be the problem.
Normalizing it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. Then we can reset for our second prompt because I think it's headed there. Our second prompt is: abortion should be accessible to girls and women of all ages.
Okay.
If you agree, flip your tag.
Okay.
I think I agree.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, go fast. Pass it to you.
I agree because at first I thought to myself, that would be a problem if, say, a 9-year-old, 12-year-old can access abortion very easily. But then again, when I came to think about it, at that age, if it wasn't for assault or there's someone else. There's definitely an adult taking them through that process. So there's definitely an adult who's privy to this, to whatever is happening here before it gets to the child. But I do agree, because I think I've seen the backstreet clinics, and I'm just not happy about it. I don't feel like, I just feel like, let's first have it available to everyone, and then we figure out how to now regulate it.
I think having it available for everyone is probably going to be problematic. And the problem is, we tend to think because we do not have like the legal access to abortion, then it translates to, the black market of it. Yes. Now, like doctors taking advantage of it. But then I feel like we are not yet there. I feel like we don't even talk about sex in the first place. People don't want to have these conversations. We haven't normalized sex education, that is. So to a point where we give people freedom without necessarily empowering them, I think it's going to be problematic. And to some extent, we're going to have the same people probably going back to the same clinics more than one time, just because they did not get to learn about it before it happened. And so it keeps recurring. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what I feel about. I don't know. I'm so what is it called? I'm conflicted about that one. But then again, I just feel like, so you're saying, from your argument, say a 12-year-old is pregnant and they go to a particular clinic, chances are they'll get pregnant over and over again and just come back and they can access it now, the way we access like e-pills.
Come up again?
For you, say a 12-year-old gets pregnant. Once they know they have access to like a clinic where they can go and get this service, the chances are that they'll get pregnant over and over again, and they'll just be walking into the clinic and out.
I think for me, I'm saying the fact that you hand them freedom without essentially preparing them or empowering them for this freedom, it might then become, I don't know. I think freedom with limits is important, and we need to empower them just so that they know, how do we even get to the pregnancy in the first place? And how can I prevent this pregnancy in the first place so that I do not end up in the same place every other time just because this thing is accessible to me. Yeah.
Okay, so I definitely overlooked that. I hadn't looked at giving access to everyone without sex education, without the preparation for how do you avoid this and how do you deal with it when it happens. So you've just given people a free whatever to just like do whatever they want without the knowledge on how to work with it. Okay. Makes sense. Our third prompt. What, do you need water?
Gosh. It's okay, let's go on.
Our third prompt is: countries where abortion is legal and accessible have way less abortion cases. Do you agree or disagree? Countries where abortion is legal and accessible have way less abortion cases.
I don't know.
The producer has said yes.
Really?
I feel like I want to say yes. How do you feel?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, then let me rephrase it then.
Okay.
Do you think if abortion was more accessible, we'd have less cases of abortion?
I don't think so. Alcohol is accessible to people, and I think people still misuse it. Yeah.
Okay. I think I agree in the sense that even the very same example you've given for alcohol, it's so free out there, and we still have sober people who don't have a problem with alcohol. They're not allergic or anything. They just choose to be sober. But you see, the freedom of access to it doesn't give it that thrill for, what is it called? The forbidden fruit.
Okay.
So in comparison to, say, marijuana, which is not legal, but there's usually that thrill for, I need it now that it's not accessible. And okay, let me brag a little. I worked in a post-abortion care clinic, and I also noticed that for people who had access to these services easily, they wouldn't come back. They'd sort of like take care of themselves and try not to come back. But I don't know. I feel, okay, I've lost my point. But I feel like if people are given something and they have free access to it, we won't have the cases that we're having right now.
I don't think that's exactly true. Honestly, I think I'll just still go back to, I don't know. I don't
Education?
think, not education. I think I'll go back to the alcohol use. And I think currently where we live, we have normalized alcohol in our interactions everywhere you go. It's like if you don't drink, then you are the problem. Because it's so ingrained in our daily lives, and it's why you're not drinking, you should be drinking. I don't know. Yeah. Also, there's something else I was to add, but I've forgotten.
Okay. I think I'd still like cluster it with education as well. The access should come in with education. But I feel once people have access to things, and I think it speaks to the point that you mentioned earlier, where doctors will now take advantage. Like right now, Gen Z. Gen Z have really normalized their abortion. But let's say during our time, there was a lot of taking advantage by the people in the medical field because they knew there's a fear they sold. This is illegal. This is, if you're found doing this, or it's so frowned upon. And so what I'm seeing Gen Z selling on TikTok right now as pills for 2K, at that time, for you to even get that pill, you are going to part with maybe 10K or so. So there's the pharmaceuticals also taking advantage of this particular space. But I don't know. I can't put it to words. I can't articulate my point. But I just know when people are given access to something, then they won't use it as much. Somehow they'll just find ways to do better for themselves. Somehow they'll find ways to do better for themselves. And going by our original prompt, I don't know if abortion cases are way less in America, because I know there at least there's access. At least they had access for a while. They had access to termination of pregnancy services for a while. But I don't know if I have the stats to prove that they actually have less abortion cases than in Kenya. Because in Kenya, there's a statistic that was published a while back, and it was staggering. It was staggering. And it also brought out that it is mostly women who are married that are aborting, and actually they're aborting their second, third children, not the actual first, as people would think. It comes from panic with young people. So with that, I'm still split about it. No thoughts?
No thoughts.
Now we reset for our next prompt. You can be a believer and still be pro-choice. If you agree, flip your tag. Okay. Yeah.
I think in as much as maybe Christian values or Muslim values or whatever religion you are part of can influence largely how you live. But I think as far as I'm concerned, I think you can thrive with a little of individuality and a relationship with like America and have your own way of doing things. Because come on, there are a lot of things that we are taught in church that are pretty manipulative and not exactly true. So you have to like build your way and your own value system in as much as they are inspired from the church or from the mosque or from the Bible. It will be nice for you to like perceive life from your own lens.
I think I'm just piggybacking off your point. I genuinely believe that you can belong to a particular faith and they might teach you particular doctrines. But yes, you still make decisions for yourself outside of that. And I think I wouldn't have, I don't think I would have agreed with this prompt maybe a year or two back, because all the people I met who were sort of like Christian or Muslim really frowned upon abortion. They weren't even willing to hear it. And now I've met more liberal Christians, and I'm thinking, okay, I guess you can make decisions outside of what the pastor is telling you. And I think that's I guess it's beautiful. Do better as Christians. Oh, and your thoughts on pro-life. Are you pro-choice or pro-life?
It's in between. Yeah. Actually, I think I just need to say this. Sometime back, I used to be strictly pro-life. But then I'm moving towards pro-choice. But I think I'm in the gray area. If I find someone who's a pro-choice and there are things that we can definitely agree on. So sometimes I'm even asking myself, where exactly do you belong? But yeah, I've been a pro-life for the longest.
What happened?
I think it's just like growing and perceiving life differently, honestly. Because I think from 18 onwards, as you leave your parents' house or as you grow into the world, there are things that are hugely inspired by how your parents brought you up or the church and all that. But as you experience life as yourself, you tend to look at things a little different from how you were taught.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I was prepping for this episode, actually, I realized I've been almost pro-choice my whole life. And I remember even while we were singing Merimela Kipenzi, okay. I didn't see anything wrong with what Merimela did. I was like, you wanted to spoil her life with pregnancy, eh? So I realized maybe at the time I couldn't really comprehend as a child. Why were you guys frowning upon this? And it's also because maybe being an inquisitive child, you hate it when you're told to do things and they don't give you an explanation to why you're supposed to do it. Okay, this is wrong, this is bad, this is a crime, this is a sin. But why? Why is it so bad? So I think I've been pro-choice. And then it didn't help that I worked for that whatever program. Fresh, maybe I was 19, 20 when I worked for that program. And when I saw what poverty looks like and how pregnancy is weaponized and how even the medicine field and pharmaceuticals is weaponized against the poor, I knew pro-life will never be me. But also as I've grown, as you've said, as we continue to grow, I think what I noticed now I've come to realize that I'm now pro-choice in a healthier, more wholesome way, because now I think of pro-choice as the choice to also keep the child. I don't only think of it as the choice to abort. When we say pro-choice, it's literally a choice. Are you going to keep it or are you going to get rid of it? And I realize now that pro-choice encompasses all decisions and not necessarily just abortion, as we have come to be, as they've made us believe, I would say. Any thoughts on that?
Okay, I think I lost you somewhere.
Basically, I was just saying my experience with being pro-choice, but that's it.
Okay, I think what I could extrapolate from that is the idea that it's pro-choice is based on women's bodily autonomy. Okay, I tend to maybe challenge that about the choice of keeping or terminating the pregnancy. Yeah. I don't know. And I know like people have had issues with pro-lifers pushing or choosing the baby over the mother. But sometimes I tend to ask myself, I mean, if you have all the tools and you have, because someone who's actively choosing to maybe keep the pregnancy or terminate the pregnancy because they're not ready, I feel like that comes from a point of luxury, or it comes from a point of some level of empowerment, not just like financially, but psychologically. I don't know how to put
You're
that.
exposed.
You're exposed to, yeah. So I don't know. if you have access to tools that can help you plan for pregnancy or not plan for that pregnancy, and I know people are gonna say, oh, but family planning fails sometimes. But what are the chances that family planning is going to fail? Is it like 9 out of 10, or is it 3 out of 10? Like, what are the chances that family planning is going to fail or fail you? So my biggest question has always been, if you are coming from that point of privilege, why don't you think about it beforehand? Though I understand things happen.
Like, why are we here?
Yeah.
I think the way you've brought up the point of family planning, I really beef with men. I really be beefing with men because they be acting like children as such a surprise. Oh my goodness, how did you get pregnant? Like, when you were having sex, and I know men play victim a lot, and if you want, please fight me in the comments. Thank you. Men play victim a lot to, I was trapped, we were drunk, I didn't intend to. But in real sense, I usually say, when you are sure you don't want a child, my friend, you'll even wrap yourself in cling film so that you don't find yourself in that situation. So you being carefree about your life, and then when a child happens, all of a sudden, no, it's not our fault, and we want to put all the blame on women. That's crazy, because I see a lot of sexual indiscipline with men, and we're not calling out enough of that.
I completely agree with you. And I feel like, I think for the longest time, women have always carried the burden. And even if you were to ask me now, I'd trust myself to take care of that and not a man. Because at the end of the day, if we get pregnant and they don't want this child, in as much as they're not holding themselves accountable for just being free or reckless with sex and all that, what?
The point has refused.
They can still choose to walk away, and there is nothing you're going to do.
Yeah.
You're still going to stay there with your child and raise that child. So I don't know. Sometimes I tend to say, I have more to lose. So I trust myself to work on this and ensure that I do not get there. But I feel like more men should actually be held accountable, or at least hold themselves accountable. If you do not want a child, why the hell are we not using protection?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how do you think men can be held accountable? Let's say in the Kenya, how we look at it in Kenya.
In the Kenyan space, oh my God, let's see. How can we hold men accountable?
Yeah. Is it systemic? Do you think anything?
I honestly think if you have a child with someone, I think we should have a way of tying you down to take care of that child. Especially, you cannot say, once the baby is here, 88, didn't want a child, I told you to abort. You're telling me to terminate the pregnancy because you're not the one who is going to go through that pain. You're not the one who is going to take that. Like, you have less to lose. You can literally just walk away.
Yeah.
But if we can make them have no choice than to take care of this baby, yeah. I feel like we have made it so easy for them to get away with it.
Yeah. I think systematic, I agree with you. There should be consequences for men who are deadbeat. And I genuinely feel like it should be as radical as them being in jail. And if you choose to then take care of your child, then you're released into the world. And if you are released, then you are required to have a job and to make sure that this child has whatever throughout. The other one is, I keep calling back to women. I know a lot of times they say, don't blame the woman, everything is on the woman. But at the end of the day, if badly behaved men still have access to our bodies, that tells you something about us. There's a level of self-love that we are lacking somewhere. So I feel like even as women, the fact that 30 men out here still have children tells you that we are also giving access to wrong people.
Yeah, I see that.
We reset for maybe our last prompt, is it? No, actually our second last. Men should have equal say on whether to keep the baby or not. Men should have equal say on whether to keep the baby or not. I disagree.
Okay, I disagree. I think I've mentioned this before. I think the woman has a bigger burden to carry as opposed to a man.
Yes.
And even like, I think it's easier for a man to like walk away and leave you there, and there is nothing you're gonna do. You're gonna have to raise the child alone. So if you are having more consequences to bear, then you should have. It's your body. You're the one. If you are to terminate it, you're going to go through that pain. If you're to keep it, you're going to raise that child. And this man can literally decide to walk out on you. So a woman should have more say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also believe that men should have no say at all. And the ones who are complaining, then why are you in sexual relations with a woman who doesn't give you the choice to decide? So at the end of the day, people just need to be grown-ups.
I think also men need to find a way of holding themselves accountable.
Men amongst themselves.
Uh-huh. Bro, if you're going out here to like have sex, if you know you want to be child-free, do something about it. Find a way. If you know, if you know you don't want to get a child, do something about it. And no one should be there to remind you. Yeah. Some of them don't even care. They don't even care if the woman has protected herself or has gotten, family planning.
Yeah.
They don't even care. They don't even ask. You yourself, how you protecting yourself from getting the child? Is there something you have done? Have you tied your tubes? Because you should if you don't want a child. Yeah.
And I also feel like men really just be wanting children for vibes. They really just, if you ask why do you want to have kids? I just want to have legacy. Legacy with your 200 bob in Mshwari, kijana saa.
I think generally people don't think about things in that depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So legacy. Higher. This is our last and our EQ point. Access to safe abortion services is a basic human right. If you agree, flip your tag. Yeah, I think I do. Access to safe abortion services is a basic human right.
Access.
Yeah. Do you agree?
I think I disagree. I don't know.
It's okay to be on the fence.
Go first.
I agree because I genuinely believe anything that includes autonomy is a basic human right, especially if it doesn't infringe on the next person. And for me, the next person isn't the child in my tummy because my tummy is still my tummy. So I feel like if it doesn't affect anyone else around me, then yes, it's a basic human right. It's like water, it's like housing, it's like clothes.
I feel as long as us gays, pro-lifers and pro-choicers are never going to agree on when life begins or whether the child should be considered a full human being with worth of human rights, I think us gays are never going to get on the same page. And it's that simple. Because if you were to ask me, then it becomes a conversation of they are the next person. And if I'm just thinking about myself and prioritizing myself over this child within me, then it means we're going to have different outcomes or different paths towards the decision making. Yeah.
I really get your point of view. I think where I stand is because we have seen mistreatment or maltreatment of humans who already exist on Earth.
Yeah.
There's multiple children who've been thrown out, multiple children who are being abused, multiple children in orphanages. And I think what pro-choicers always ask pro-lifers, now that you want every child to be saved and not to be brought to this world, is there an orphanage that you contribute to? Is there a program that you're part of that is helping alleviate, like, say, poverty in kids, trying to clean the streets of street kids? Is there a program that you can say you are serving that helps serve humans who already exist? Yeah. Because then I think it's just hypocritical to say we care about the life that's in my tummy when the life next to you is not even taken care of. There's a child who doesn't have food, doesn't have water, being abused, sleeping outside. That child deserves what they're going through, but we are worried about the one who's in my tummy.
I feel like that's an interesting take because how I'd look at it is, this is out of your own making. So it's kind of your responsibility. Not that, whether I'm not pushing my perceptions on anyone, but you actively took part in sex.
Yes.
As opposed to someone walking outside down the street, or someone who lives on the streets, or someone who's not going to school, or someone who doesn't have food. It's not directly your responsibility. But when it comes to a child in your tummy, it is something that you literally worked for. Yeah. Though I feel like it is very important for pro-lifers. And I think some organizations are already doing this to ensure that people just don't terminate pregnancy out of, I do not have the financial capacity to take care of this baby. So if you don't have the financial capacity to take care of the baby, some organizations out here are asking you to keep the pregnancy, then maybe take them to their orphanages, or they'll help you raise the child, or they'll adopt the child, or things like that. Yeah, us gays are not perfect, and we are not here to push our... Yeah.
I know, what is it called? At the end of the day, it's your own responsibility. I just feel like if you then have an opinion about whether I'm going to terminate or keep my child, then that opinion should come with support on whether you will give this child support of any sort. So when I tell you I know you've mentioned finance, but I think the biggest one for me, even as an EQ coach, is, do you have the emotional capacity to be a parent? Because the number of us who are now seated here with traumatic pasts is ridiculous. And honestly, that's something that we overlook. And even we're seeing even the rising cases of suicide. So uliza tu mtu ndio akufe baadaye, like postpone death. So
don't you think if we are in a capacity to have that conversation at a point of termination, then we have the capacity to also ask ourselves the same questions right before we engage in the sex that leads to having that baby? It then means that at a point where I know I do not want to have a child, then I should hold myself accountable and tell myself, what am I doing to maybe ensure that I do not get pregnant, so that I end up in termination path.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so at the end of the day, we should all start from the beginning. I forget the beginning so many times. We should all start from the beginning. I don't want to have children. Then we wouldn't get to the terminate. Don't terminate. I think the oopsie babies is what now we'd be talking about, and not so much kids that we've had out of sexual indiscipline.
Okay.
And we're not covering... We're not talking about abuse. My goodness, abuse is on its own. I beg. Those
most definitely. I'm not inhuman to say, keep the baby.
We're not talking about abuse. Well, that was our EQ point. Access to safe abortion services is a basic human right, and we do not agree. So therefore, the second podcast episode also does not have an EQ point, but we're going to complete it with a fun game of Mashilingi Kichwani. So this is like Jeopardy sort of. We have 4 categories, and you play for either 20 shillings, 60 shillings, 80 shillings, or 100 shillings. So you can pick what category you want to play for. There's questions, and if you get it right, well, that's your money, and you take it home.
General knowledge.
For category, general knowledge, for how much?
60 bob.
Higher.
Fingers crossed.
General knowledge for 60 shillings. What planet is known as the red planet?
Mars.
That's always in Goja. I'm the one who set up the question, so I don't know if it's fair for me to play.
Okay.
Who said 80 bob?
Okay. Which one? Who said?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's gone in.
Yeah. How can I?
I don't even know. There we go.
Who said, you can insult me, abuse me, but you cannot argue with facts? Clue, during a heated TV interview.
Okay, I know who this is. What are the answers?
Martha Karua, Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, Miguna, Boni Halwale.
That sounds like a Miguna line.
You got it!
I can go home with 80 bob. Sawa. Aya, thank you so much. That brings us to the end of Pro-Life versus Pro-Choice podcast episode.